we're extremely optimistic about. This is a totally different case than it was when it went to the jury. We now know there was no skull fracture, and we know that there was an old injury. And the standard is, would that undermine confidence in the jury's verdict? So if the jury had known these things, would the jury not have acquitted her? That's not the standard, but would it have produced a different result? So let's say, the jury had known there was no skull fracture. The state mentioned it 93 times. And I think that judges, this court understands all that. They understand the forensic evidence. The whole thing is it going to be sufficient to overturn the verdict? We think it will be. If it doesn't, we will go on into federal court, because there's no better violation than a Brady violation to overturn a conviction, and that's what we've got. And as you could tell when we were in there, no one's contesting that the defense was not given the uncompressed x-rays. They were given x-rays that were compressed down. 98% of the data had been removed. They got 1% of the data. That's why they couldn't tell if there was a fracture or not.
They still seem to question the skull fracture, that you only had the one expert testifying that there was definitely.
I think that was the state response at the time, because people had touched the fracture. I think that they had not fully considered this is a pediatric neuroradiologist who had a clear x-ray, which no one had at trial. And he's not saying maybe there's no skull fracture. He's saying it's impossible for there to have been a skull fracture. That was his testimony. There was no radiologist that testified at the trial. So this is a game changer. This is new evidence. It was evidence that wasn't disclosed. It's the most frequent area of reversal in the case law. So we're optimistic, but we just keep going. Doesn't matter what happens. We keep going.
I actually think, and I hope and I pray that this is the end, because enough is enough. My daughter suffered so much. She's been in prison for something she didn't do. She's in jail for doing time for no crime. And why is she there? I mean, they even changed the manner of death from homicide to undetermined. So, really, I just pray to God that these judges see that the evidence is in front of them. They heard what they heard today. They read the brief, they read the evidence, and it's the evidence that I believe that's going to set my daughter free.